The metallic clang of energy restraints reverberated through the fortified confines of holding Block Z-99. Ethan shifted his shoulders, the familiar prickle of neural suppressors a constant reminder of his captivity. 6 years, 2,190 days, spent observing, waiting, formulating his plan. The cell's force field throbbed with lethal energy, painting an eerie cerulean light across his face. Beyond the barrier, a massive window showcased the vast expanse of uncharted cosmos, sprinkled with unfamiliar constellations. The Alio's maximum security station, ironically dubbed Heaven's Hold by its inhabitants, drifted through the void like a colossal metal behemoth. Ethan's augmented hearing detected a shift in the guard rotations. The predictable, rhythmic march of the cyborg guards had been replaced by a quicker, more urgent cadence. Something was amiss. All inmates face the wall. Royal inspection in progress. The announcement boomed through the prison's intercom. A slight smile played on Ethan's lips. Finally, Princess Lyra's annual visit, the opportunity he'd been anticipating, the single moment when the station's impenetrable security would be diverted to ceremonial duties. "Hey, handsome," Ethan's cellmate, Grok, a 7-foot Martian with a network of scars marring his violet skin, rasped. "Here the princess is making her rounds. Get your heart racing, eh?" "Just another day in paradise," Ethan responded, his thoughts consumed by the meticulously crafted plan he'd honed over countless sleepless nights. He could sense a subtle shift in the prison's energy grid, a slight weakening of the force fields. Standard procedure during royal visits, diverting power to the ceremonial shields. A rookie mistake. Heavy footfalls echoed towards their block. Through the transparent wall, Ethan caught his first glimpse of the royal entourage. Princess Lyra glided at its center, her silver gown shimmering like fluid moonlight. Even by intergalactic standards, her beauty was striking, pale lavender skin, shimmering hair, an eyes that seemed to contain entire galaxies. "Wow," Ethan breathed. "The holo images don't do you justice, Your Highness." The princess paused, her gaze sweeping across the cell block. For a fleeting moment, their eyes met, and Ethan held her gaze. "This section houses our most dangerous offenders," the warden explained, his cybernetic eye twitching nervously as it scanned the cells. "Including Subject 88173, former Special Operations Agent, convicted of crimes I didn't commit," Ethan interjected, rising to his feet. Guards instantly leveled their weapons. Princess Lyra turned towards his cell, an elegant eyebrow arched. Bold words from a condemned man. "Boldness is my forte, Princess. Care to hear my version of events over dinner?" Several guards grumbled, but Ethan caught the flicker of amusement in Lyra's eyes. "Enough," the warden snapped. "Show proper respect." The lights flickered. Right on schedule. The tiny electromagnetic pulse emitter Ethan had painstakingly assembled from scavenged parts was functioning perfectly, creating just enough disruption. His restraints disengaged with a soft click. The ensuing moments were a whirlwind of activity. Ethan moved with preternatural speed, his body honed by 6 years of disciplined practice. The force field wavered just long enough for him to slip through. 3 guards fell before they could react. "Nobody move!" Ethan's arm encircled the princess's waist, pulling her close. In his other hand, he held a makeshift plasma blade against her neck. "Unless you'd like to explain to the Emperor why his daughter returned with a new accessory. Release her immediately," the warden's voice trembled with fury. Lyra, remarkably, remained composed in Ethan's embrace. "Impressive," she murmured, low enough for only him to hear. "Though somewhat predictable." "Sometimes the classics are best, Your Highness," Ethan retorted, backing towards the emergency escape pods, keeping the princess close. "Besides, I needed to get your attention." "And why is that?" "Because you're the only one who knows the truth about what happened on Nexus Prime." Her body stiffened against his. He had her interest. "All units, hold your fire," Lyra commanded, her voice regal despite the precarious situation. "This man is clearly delusional. Let me handle this." They reached the pod bay. Ethan's fingers flew over the control panel, muscle memory guiding his actions. You realize, Lyra said as the pod door hissed open, that every ship in the sector will be hunting you down. Worth it for the pleasure of your company, Ethan replied, guiding her into the pod. Though I have to ask, why aren't you more afraid? Inside the pod, she turned, their faces inches apart. Because, Subject 88173, you're not the only one who's been waiting for this moment. Before he could react, she unclasped a pendant from her neck. Take this. Consider it a gift for making my inspection so memorable. It could be a tracker. It could be. Her smile was enigmatic. Or it could be exactly what you need to prove your innocence. The hiss of escaping atmosphere and the rumble of powerful engines filled the cramped confines of the escape pod as Sean hurtled away from the Alios station. The viewport showcased the receding prison, a metallic behemoth shrinking against the vast backdrop of space. He glanced at the pendant clutched in his hand, its surface cool and smooth. Princess Tara's cryptic words echoed in his mind, a gift, a tracker, or the key to his innocence. He had a feeling it was all three. The pod's console flashed with warning lights. Pursuit vessels. Right on cue, Sean muttered, his fingers dancing across the controls. He wasn't about to be recaptured. Not now. Not after 6 years. He pushed the pod to its limits, weaving through asteroid fields and utilizing the gravitational pull of nearby planets to slingshot himself further away from his pursuers. The pendant pulsed faintly, its warmth radiating through his palm. He slipped it around his neck, and a rush of information flooded his senses, tactical data, navigational charts, even real-time analysis of the pursuing ship's movements. It was as if the pendant was an extension of his own mind. He navigated the treacherous space lanes, the pendant guiding him through nebulae and past hidden sensor arrays. The pursuit ships fell behind, their captains clearly unwilling to risk their vessels in such dangerous maneuvers. As the last of his pursuers vanished from his sensors, Sean finally allowed himself to breathe. He had escaped. But where to go now? The pendant seemed to anticipate his question. A holographic display materialized before him, showcasing a planet on the outer rim. Xylos. A world known for its fierce, independent warrior women. The pendant's interface provided a detailed briefing on Xylos' culture, its defenses, and its deep-seated distrust of outsiders. It was a dangerous destination, but it also offered sanctuary. And, according to the pendant's analysis, it offered the perfect opportunity to rebuild his life, to gather allies, and to eventually expose the truth about what happened on Nexus Prime. He set a course for Xylos, a grim smile playing on his lips. Let's see what these warrior women have to offer, he thought. The pendant pulsed again, its surface rippling like liquid metal. Welcome to Xylos, candidate. Prepare for your next trial. The Xylos shuttle shuddered as it pierced the turbulent atmosphere, the planet's crimson sun casting long, jagged shadows across the rugged landscape below. Sean gripped the pendant Tara had given him, its surface cool against his skin. It was a silent reminder of the princess's cryptic words, a promise of answers and a path towards clearing his name. Xylos, a world shrouded in myth and legend, was his next destination, a haven for exiled warriors and a breeding ground for rebellion. The shuttle's pilot, a gruff Xylos native named Zara, grunted. Brace yourself, outsider. Landing on Xylos ain't for the faint of heart. The early morning sunlight, filtering through the crystalline windows of Daniel's chambers, illuminated the sleeping form of Queen Elira nestled beside him. He watched her for a moment, tracing the gentle curve of her cheekbone, his reader sense attuned to the peaceful rhythm of her emotions. A sudden spike of irritation jolted him. The door slid open, revealing Queen Elira, fully dressed and holding a datapad. Her eyes widened, taking in the scene, Daniel, bare-chested, and Lady Myra, still asleep and barely covered by the silken sheets. Your Majesty, Daniel greeted calmly, making no attempt to hide the situation. To what do I owe this honor? Elira's voice was glacial. The trade summit, she said, her gaze fixed on Myra. Which you would remember if you weren't so occupied. I assure you, my queen, Daniel replied smoothly, I am never too occupied to serve the Imperium. He could feel the conflicting emotion swirling within her, jealousy, anger, and a deeper, more complex feeling she quickly suppressed. The Grand Hall, in 1 hour, Elira stated curtly. House Zenith's new tariffs on quantum crystals require immediate attention. With a final, pointed look, she turned and left. Myra stirred beside him. Was that? Go back to sleep, Daniel murmured. I intend to, he replied, his voice steady. He held up the pendant, its surface shimmering faintly. This is the key. It holds the truth about what happened on Nexus Prime. It will prove I was framed. Rhea's eyes narrowed, focusing on the pendant. A trinket proves nothing, she scoffed. Actions speak louder than trinkets on Xylos. Sean knew she was right. He had to show them, not just tell them. He had to prove he was worthy of their trust, their protection. He had to earn his place among them. Then allow me to demonstrate, Sean said, a glint of steel entering his eyes. Give me a chance to show you what I can do. Rhea considered him for a moment, then a slow smile spread across her face. Very well, outsider, she said, her voice laced with a hint of challenge. We have a tradition on Xylos for those seeking sanctuary. Trial by combat. Prove your worth against our strongest warrior, and we shall see if your words hold any truth. Sean felt a surge of adrenaline. Trial by combat. It was a dangerous gamble, but he had no other choice. He had to prove himself, not just to Rhea and her clan, but to himself. He touched the pendant, drawing strength from its cool surface. I accept, he said, his voice ringing with newfound confidence. Let the trial begin. The warriors led him to a clearing in the center of the plateau, a natural arena surrounded by towering rock formations. A hush fell over the crowd as a lone figure stepped into the clearing. She was tall and muscular, her movements fluid and graceful, radiating an aura of deadly power. This was Anya, the Blood Moon Hunter's champion, a warrior renowned for her unmatched skill and ruthless efficiency in combat. Sean knew this fight would be the ultimate test of his abilities, a chance to show these warriors that he was more than just a fugitive. He took a deep breath, focusing his mind, preparing himself for the battle ahead. The pendant pulsed against his skin, a silent promise of assistance, a reminder that he wasn't alone in this fight. He was ready. The harsh crimson sun of Xylos beat down on Sean as he stood in the dust-filled arena, facing his opponent. Anya, the Blood Moon Hunter's champion, radiated an almost palpable aura of lethal grace. Her movements were fluid, predatory, like a jungle cat preparing to pounce. Sean touched the pendant beneath his shirt, drawing a strange sense of calm from its cool surface. It was more than just a trinket now, it was a part of him, a silent partner in this dangerous dance. The pendant hummed faintly against his skin, a constant flow of tactical data and strategic suggestions feeding into his mind. Analyze opponent's stance, predict attack vectors, exploit weaknesses. The information flowed seamlessly, integrating with his own instincts honed over years of training. Anya circled him, her eyes narrowed, assessing his strengths and weaknesses. The crowd of Xylos warriors surrounding the arena was a sea of hardened faces, their expressions a mixture of curiosity and bloodlust. They had seen countless trials by combat, witnessed the rise and fall of many warriors. Sean was just another outsider, another test subject in their brutal tradition. He knew he had to impress them, to show them he was more than just a fugitive seeking sanctuary. He had to prove he was a warrior. Anya lunged, her energy blade a flash of blinding light. Sean reacted instantly, the pendant's tactical analysis guiding his movements. He parried the blow, the force of the impact jarring his arm, but he held his ground. He counterattacked, a series of precise strikes aimed at Anya's exposed flanks. She blocked them, but he could see the surprise in her eyes. He was faster, more agile than she expected. The fight continued, a whirlwind of flashing blades and grunts of exertion. Sean felt the pendant's influence growing stronger, enhancing his reflexes, sharpening his senses. He could anticipate Anya's attacks before she even launched them, his body moving with preternatural speed and precision. The crowd roared, their excitement growing with each exchange. Sean could feel their respect, their grudging admiration. He was proving himself, earning his place among these fierce warriors. He pressed his attack, forcing Anya to retreat. He could sense her frustration, her growing desperation. She was a skilled warrior, but she was no match for the combined power of his own training and the pendant's enhancements. The final blow was swift and decisive. Sean disarmed Anya, his practiced blade resting lightly against her throat. The crowd erupted in cheers, a wave of approval washing over him. He had won. He had proven his worth. Rhea, the clan leader, stepped into the arena, her face grim but respectful. "You have passed the trial, outsider," she said, her voice echoing across the plateau. "You have earned your place among the Blood Moon Hunters." Sean lowered his blade, his heart pounding in his chest. He had survived. He had found sanctuary. But he knew this was just the beginning. He still had to uncover the truth about Nexus Prime, to clear his name and expose those who had framed him. The pendant pulsed against his skin, a silent promise of assistance, a reminder that he was not alone in this fight. He looked up at the crimson sky, a newfound determination hardening his gaze. He was ready for whatever came next. He was ready to fight for his future, for his freedom, for the truth. He was ready to become a legend. Sean watched the Turan capital recede from view, the vibrant city a jewel against the planet's verdant landscape. He sat in the cockpit of Lyra's personal fighter, the pendant Tara had given him resting against his chest, radiating a comforting warmth. He had come a long way from the cold confines of Alios. The system within the pendant, once a cryptic puzzle, was now a familiar companion, its interface integrated seamlessly with his own consciousness. Lyra, seated beside him, glanced over, a subtle smile playing on her lips. Still amazed by the trinket, exile, she teased, her voice laced with the familiar Turan accent. "It's more than a trinket, Commander," Sean replied, his fingers tracing the pendant's smooth surface. "It's a legacy." Indeed, Lyra agreed, her gaze fixed on the approaching fleet of Turan warships. "And one you've wielded masterfully. The tribes are united, our defenses strengthened, our future secured. You've earned your place among us, Sean." The fleet coalesced around them, forming a protective escort as they set course for the rendezvous point. Tara's message had been clear: the Empire was on the brink of civil war, and she needed allies. Terras, once isolated and forgotten, was now a force to be reckoned with, a key player in the unfolding galactic drama. Sean felt a surge of anticipation. The system within the pendant hummed with anticipation, projecting tactical data and strategic options onto his visual cortex. This was more than just a fight for survival, more than just a quest for revenge. This was a chance to reshape the galaxy, to forge a new era of peace and prosperity. The rendezvous point was a hidden nebula, a swirling vortex of gas and dust that masked their presence from Imperial sensors. As they entered the nebula, Tara's flagship materialized, a sleek, obsidian vessel that dwarfed the surrounding Turan warships. A secure channel opened, and Tara's image appeared on the main view screen. "Welcome, Sean," she said, her voice warm and welcoming. "Lyra. It's good to see you both." "Your Highness," Lyra responded, inclining her head respectfully. "Terra stands ready to fulfill its pledge." "I knew I could count on you," Tara replied, her gaze lingering on Sean. "And on you, Sean. You've accomplished remarkable things in a short time. Terras is transformed. The galaxy is watching." "It was a team effort," Sean said, acknowledging Lyra with a nod. "The system helped, but the people of Terras made it happen." "Modesty becomes you," Tara said, a hint of amusement in her voice. "But don't underestimate your role in this. You have a gift, Sean. A gift for leadership, for strategy, for inspiring others to greatness." "Perhaps," Sean replied, his hand instinctively moving to the pendant. "Or perhaps I just have a very good advisor." Tara's smile widened. "Indeed. Now, let's discuss the future. The Empire is divided. Old alliances are crumbling. New powers are rising. We have a chance to reshape the galaxy, to build a better future for all.
Are you with me?
Sean looked at Lyra, at the assembled Terran fleet, at the swirling nebula that concealed them from the chaos of the galaxy. He knew the risks, the challenges, the sacrifices that lay ahead. But he also knew that he couldn't turn back. He had come too far, fought too hard, changed too much. He looked back at Tara, his voice firm and unwavering. I'm with you, Your Highness. Let's build an empire. The nebula shimmered as the combined fleets emerged, their weapons charged, their shields raised, their resolve unwavering. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what the future held. And Sean, with the pendant pulsing against his chest, the system humming with power, and a fierce warrior woman at his side, was ready to lead the charge. The Terran warriors, once isolated and forgotten, were now a force to be reckoned with, their laughter echoing through the void, a defiant challenge to the old order. The age of the warrior women had begun.